Welcome everyone, today we're doing a collection video. Basically a big update which is going to range from Arrow Videos, Vinegar Syndrome, Scream Factory, Blue Underground. Yeah, there's one or two code reds in here as well. And I suppose I should apologise, it's been so long since my last video. I tend to take long breaks between videos. Mainly it's just me. I procrastinate a lot. I put loads of things off, and I kind of, if I can do it later, I'll do it later. But anyway, I'm here now. I'm gonna try and do this video, and I've got two videos planned today, but I won't say what the other one is just in case I don't end up getting around to doing it. And I do have one more movie on the way, but I decided to film this today instead, and that's just that recent Halloween steelbook that came out. And that'll be on its way soon. But without further ado, I'm going to start going through my most recent collection videos, pretty much since, my recent collection pieces since my last video. So let's do it. So first up here is Vinegar Syndrome title. This is one of their more recent releases called All American Murder. It seems to be some sort of like slasher thriller. It has Christopher Walken in, and I believe it's from 1990. Might be a bit later, but I'm looking forward to checking this one out. I'd never heard of it prior to Vinegar Syndrome's announcement, so looking forward to checking that one out. Next up here is Beware My Brethren. I've never heard of this movie either. This came with my last Vinegar Syndrome order. It's one of their titles. It sounds to me a bit like a well, it is a proto slasher, it says on the back, and it's a British film as well. So next up is Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. This is one that I'd always kind of been aware of, but I'd never watched it before. I didn't even realise this was out of print. At least I'm pretty sure it is, because they're re-releasing it. And I found it on my Diabolic DVD, so I made the order there. And still yet to check it out, but glad to have it. Next up is Crywolf. This is from 2005. Kind of like, it feels like the Scream era of slasher movies, but it has its own different feel to it. It's definitely a unique movie. Like, the twist by the end caught me by surprise, and I even forgot who told me about this film, but it's definitely worth a watch. So if you haven't watched Crywolf, definitely check that one out. Next up is Dark Night of the Scarecrow, another one I haven't watched before, and I kept seeing it pop up, so when it came to me getting some movies in, I decided to end up picking it up, although I still haven't got around to watching it. I'm kind of planning on watching it around October time. It kind of seems like that kind of movie, and again, definitely looking forward to watching that one. Next up is Don't Go in the House from Scorpio releasing. I've had this one for quite a bit now. In fact, I'm not even sure if I showed it in the last video, but it's here anyway. Unfortunately, I overpaid for it because it's been out of print for a while, and then they go and announce that who's releasing it? I can't remember, but somebody's releasing it now. It was a bit of a... It's kind of typical, that seems to happen to me quite a bit. But I've got the Scorpion version now anyway, and it's a decent movie. Next up is the recently re-released version of The Forest. This is a Code Red release, and it comes with a slipcase. It's pretty much the only difference. But it's nice to see them re-releasing things, because a lot of things I never even heard of, and then when I found them, they were out of print. They kind of tend to fly into the radar a lot. But finally got The Forest, added it to my collection. I've watched the film. It was actually pretty good. I enjoyed it. And yeah, so definitely pick up The Forest now it's been re-released. Next up is Jello and Venice. This came with my last Diabolic DVD order. Never really heard of the film before I heard they were releasing it, so I checked it out on IMDb and I thought I'd definitely put that one up. Still yet to watch it, but again, this is a Code Red release, and I'll be watching it at some point. And sorry about any glare as well. I'm kind of in front of a window. Now, I'm not sure if I showed this in my last video, but I'll show it here anyway. Goatables. I'd heard about this one for quite a while. It's quite a grisly modern slasher film, and I found those Blu-ray of it from Unearthed Films, and I decided to pick it up. It's a 2-disc collector's edition. Still yet to watch it, but I will be soon. I think there might be a sequel too. And also, Unearthed Films are releasing quite a few more new things soon, so I definitely check out them out if you haven't heard of them. Next up is The Hills Run Red. I'm not sure if I showed it in my last video, so I'll show it here. A recent Scream Factory release, a slasher that came out in 2006, I think. Definitely looks right up my street, to be honest, but I still haven't watched it. There's so many, honestly, there's like half my collection I haven't even watched yet, so I've got a lot of films to get through. Next is Hitcher in the Dark, one of Vinegar Syndrome's more recent releases. Don't know much about the film, never really heard of it either, but again, another one which I'm glad Vinegar Syndrome kind of bring into Blu-ray, and I'm looking forward to watching that one. Next up is an out-of-print Vinegar Syndrome release, Horror House on Highway 5. I'd had this on eBay for a long time and it never sold, so I eventually just ended up picking it up. And I have seen the film, and it's one of the fucking craziest films I've ever seen ever. Literally, you do not know what's going on in the film. It's bizarre, and if you haven't seen the film, I guess check it out if you like bad movies, but I can't recommend it really. Next up is the House by the Cemetery 4K from Blue Underground. They're also re-releasing Maniac Cop 2 and 3 soon. I picked up the Blu-ray for House by the Cemetery quite a while back. It was, in fact, I think it was in one of my first videos, and I still haven't watched it, so I picked up the 4K as well, and I'll get around to it at some point. Definitely one I keep hearing good things about. Next up is I'm Madman. I was going through a list of slashers quite a while back, and I was seeing which was on Blu-ray and which was on DVD and which hadn't been released. It really flew under the radar for me, and I never even knew they released I'm Madman on Blu-ray. This is a Scream Factory release, long out of print, so I went on eBay. I think I found around 2, and that was even international here. And I kind of snagged this one, but it was pretty expensive for a film I've never even seen or heard of until I looked it up. But it's in my collection, kind of a rare Blu-ray these days, and I'm looking forward to checking it out. Next up is Last Gasp, again another one of Vinegar Syndrome's more recent ones. I think it was the same month as Hitcher in the Dark, and I literally know nothing about this movie. I couldn't tell you anything about it. I just read in the description it had slasher elements, or it was part slasher, so that kind of sold me instantly, so I ended up picking up the film. But again, I don't really know much about it, so I can't really speak on it. I might have showed this in my last video, but I'm not sure, so I'll show it anyway. But this is the Majorettes, I think it's called, and again another slasher which I'd never heard of, and then I saw somebody else had it, and I thought it looked pretty interesting, so I looked it up, and then I bought the movie, another one I haven't watched, and I'll be watching soon. Next up is another one I picked up in my recent Vinegar Syndrome order, and it's called The Massage Parlor Murders, 70s film. The back of the film kind of sold me. I'm not 100% what kind of film it is, though. To me it sounds like one of those 70s slasher movies or something similar, and that's kind of like an era which I really enjoy, those kind of films, so it sold me on that one, and now I own the film. Next up is Midnight Movie. I've been trying to pick up a few more modern slashers. This one's from around 2009, I think, so about over a decade old, and again another one that I'd kind of heard things about now and again, but don't really know anything about the film, and I will be watching that at some point. Next up is Argento's Opera, one that I've heard great things about now and again, and I've seen the film. In fact, I watched it the day I received it, and I don't really enjoy it too much, to be honest. I know it's one of them that kind of splits his fans. From what I've seen, there's loads of people who think this is his best. A lot of people think it's not one of his best. I don't know. I don't know where I stand, to be honest, because I haven't seen all of his films yet, even though I know I own quite a few of them. I thought there was some pretty cool kills in it. I thought the gore was decent, but again, it kind of bored me a bit. But there's plenty of films that have bored me at first, and then after a rewatch or two, I've ended up really liking them. So I'll definitely give it another shot at some point. Next up is the Orphan Killer. Again, I was picking up a few more modern slashers. This is one I heard come up now and again. This is, I don't think it's very rare Blu-ray, but you kind of do have to hunt for it, I guess. I think I found it through Diabolic, but I ended up buying it off eBay from the States. And I have seen the film, some decent gore on there, and it's definitely a decent slasher, it's worth a check. And yeah, that's the Orphan Killer. Next up is Pandemonium, another one from my latest Vinegar Syndrome purchase. And I kind of hesitate picking this one up for a long time. I always found the slipcover appealing, but then I saw the actual poster for the film and it didn't really look like my kind of thing. I kept hearing it was a slasher spoof. I mean, I own like Student Bodies and Return to Horror High, so I was hesitant on getting it for a while, but it ended up selling me on that slipcover, so I ended up just picking it up, and at some point I'll watch it, but I'm not the biggest fan of slasher spoofs, to be honest. But this one might change my mind, so I'll watch it soon. Next is Peeping Tom, one I'd heard about for a long time. You know, you always hear it a lot, you know, where did slasher films probably start, and I guess the two I hear most, the earliest, are Peeping Tom and Psycho. And it was one I hadn't really been fussed about for a while, and I ended up just buying it, and I've watched it, and I did enjoy the film. It's not one of them that I think is an absolute masterpiece, but it's definitely ahead of its time where it is, and I thought the thing with the director was interesting, how he couldn't get any work after, and then it became a cult classic movie. But it was definitely worth a watch, and a decent film. This just arrived today. This is Robert Englund in Phantom of the Opera. It's from 1989. It's just a slasher version of the Phantom of the Opera, and don't know much about it, but it was usually £7 for a Blu-ray, so I thought I'd jump on that one, and I'll be watching that one soon as well. Next is the Prom Night remake from 2009. I mean, this film has some haters. You know, you only have to look on the internet and you'll see this got quite a hate behind it. But I've also seen a lot of people actually say they really enjoy the film, and it was £3 on Amazon, so I just thought I'd pick it up and add it to my collection, and I'll make my own mind up. Next up is the Psycho remake from 1998. I still haven't seen it. I think it's the only one in the series I haven't seen now. I will do it at some point. You know, I hear it's kind of just a middle of the road film, to be honest, but I'll definitely watch that at some point. Next up is the Rain Killer. I'd been looking for this one for a long time. It was out of stock on Diabolic DVD. I don't even know if it's out of print, although I imagine it is, considering how hard it was to find, especially over here. And it popped up now and again on eBay. Then the seller had it with like 3 copies, so I kind of had that in my basket for a while. And then I ended up just biting the bullet and buying it. So it's another one owned in my collection. Apparently it feels a lot more like a Jello, but at some point I'll watch it. Next up is Rush Week, one of Vinegar Syndrome's more recent releases as well. And it's just an 80s slasher, to be honest. You might have heard a lot of people talking about it lately, of course, because it's finally got a Blu-ray, and I don't really have much to say on it. I will check it out at some point though. Next up is Star Time, a film from 1992. I'm probably way off there, but I know it's 90s. Kind of one that I'm not surprised flew under the radar. You know, there's a lot of those early 90s, films that you never really hear of, and this is a Vinegar Syndrome release. I have reversed the cover as well, but I'm not really sure how to explain this film, to be honest. It is like a serial killer film, and I saw it on, somebody put it on like a slasher list, and then I saw people saying it's not a slasher, and then probably what I most agree with, to be honest, which was on IMDb, somebody said it's more like an adult kind of slasher, and I can kind of get behind that, but it was a decent film, and you know, I'd definitely check it out if you get the chance. Next up is Silent Night, the remake of Silent Night Deadly Night. I hear it has nothing to do with the original, but I've got the whole franchise and it was the only one I was missing, so I finally got that one. Next up here is Strip to Kill. This came in my last Diabolic DVD order, and another one I haven't seen yet. We'll do it at some point. Don't really have much to say on it, to be honest. Next up is Terror from the same director's Bloody New Year. Don't really know much about the film. Again, I'll get around to watching it at one point, but I don't really know anything about it, to be honest. Next up is To All a Good Night. Now, I'd been after this film for a long time, and there was someone selling it over here for about, I think it was like 20 quid. And I kind of just laid off it for a while. Then I found out I'd sold only a few months later, and then I looked online and realised it was out of print. And it was going for ridiculous prices, so I held off for a long time, and then I found this one, which it was from America, but I think it cost me about 70 quid. And then I think that includes import as well. But yeah, I finally own the film now, from Scorpio releasing. More of a Christmas slasher, and I haven't seen it before. Next up is The Unseen from 1980. Another one I don't really know anything about, to be honest. I've heard some people say it's a slasher. And no, in fact, I haven't heard anyone say it is. I've seen it on a list of slasher films. It was on there. Though I haven't really seen anyone else say it is, but I'll give it a chance at some point. Next up is the Urban Legend Trilogy from 88 Films. This is a recent release. It comes with a poster, art cards, and something else. Definitely a nice box set. It comes with Urban Legend 1, Final Cut, and Bloody Mary. I already own the first two on Blu-ray from Screen Factory, but I couldn't really pass up on this set, to be honest. It's a great box set, just like the I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I really hope they start doing some more. What I'd absolutely love is a Slumber Party Massacre trilogy set, because any collectors will know that 2 and 3 double feature has been out of print for a long time, and that's probably the most expensive Blu-ray I've seen. And we haven't had a Blu-ray release in this country, the first one anyway. I do own the Screen Factory one, but I reckon that'd be a good thing for them to do if they release a trilogy for that. And I know people have a lot of suggestions too, so fingers crossed, and we'll see what they deliver next. Next up is Wacko, another slasher parody from Vinegar Syndrome. Haven't seen it, although this one kind of does look fun, to be honest. I like the cover, but again, I don't really enjoy slasher spoofs too much. But I'll watch this one. I think I might watch it around Halloween time. And my latest Vinegar Syndrome is Zombie Island Massacre. I mean, from the title, I didn't have a clue this is a slasher, to be honest. I thought it was just a zombie film, but apparently it is, and apparently it's terrible. But I'll give it a chance at some point. Next up is Blood and Black Lace. I've been wanting to watch this film for quite a while now, and I never got around to picking it up. Now, I think this is out of print, although I might be wrong, but even this UK version, I could hardly find it. And I think I saw one going pre-owned for like 60 quid, so that makes me think it's definitely out of print. But anyway, somebody put this up for 15 quid brand new, so I thought it was a bit of a steal, so I ended up picking it up, and definitely watch that one soon. Next up is Blood Feast. A lot of people call it the first splatter film. In fact, I think it even says it on the back of the case. I haven't seen it before. In fact, I don't think I've seen any of the director's movies. I know he's pretty popular. In fact, I think Arrow did a box set of his. But I ended up just picking this one up, and at some point I'll get around to watching it. Next up is Dressed to Kill from Brian De Palma. I've heard a lot of great things about this one. Again, I've never seen it before. I know Michael Caine's in it. And I think people lot say this one is a bit more of a, an adult kind of slasher too, and an erotic film, I think, as well. And yeah, another one I'm looking forward to watching, and it's been on my watch list for a while, but now I finally own the film, so I'll get around to that at some point. Next up is The Hills of Ice Part 2. Another one which I kind of just left in my basket for a while because it's not too old. And in fact, I think I'm halfway through the film now. It's definitely alright so far, and yeah, it's just Hills of Ice, to be honest, and definitely a great release though. Next up is the next film I picked up in the Slasher Classics collection from 88 Films, which is Moon in Scorpio. And by the way, the light should have gone down a bit now. Unfortunately, it's extremely hot today here in the UK. I mean, summer's definitely here now, and yeah, I kind of had to take a little break, but it's kind of gone down a bit now. But yeah, anyway, Moon and Scorpio, and that is in fact the last Blu-ray as of recent, and now I'll move on to the DVDs. Moving on to DVDs, the first up is Black Xmas from 2006, the remake of Black Christmas, the first remake. No, I haven't seen this film. I absolutely adore the original. I hear this isn't good, and I haven't heard one good thing about the newest one. I'm not even going to watch it. But yeah, the Blu-ray for this has been out of print for quite a while now, and I thought I'd pick up the DVD. I think it was about £3 something, so I thought I'd get it off Amazon next day delivery. Here it is. Next up is an interesting one. It's that I come across on DVD on the Vinegar Syndrome site, and this is called Night of the Stranglist from 1972. It kind of sounded like a slasher, and whether it is or not, I'll give it a shot. You know, it might be a proto-slasher, and it sounds interesting, so I'm looking forward to checking that one out. Next up is Spine. This is a DVD from Massacre Video. Like there's a couple of others I want to pick up from Massacre Video. They've got one called Nutbag. They've got the Nostril Picker, Phantom Killer. You know, and they're the kind of films that I don't think will ever get released again. Well, not anytime soon anyway. So I think I'm gonna try and pick all these up now and at least own them. Then they're kind of like well, this one I know is a shot-on-video slasher film, and yeah, so that's Spine. The last DVD here is Zipperface. Don't really think I need to explain. It's exactly what it says. It's a slasher film with that, and this is a DVD release from Culture Shock Releasing. 90s slasher. That's all I know, and I'm not really in a rush to watch this one. Probably will at some point, but this is what I love about collecting. And I looked at it and I kind of laughed, and it just summed it up for me. Like, nobody will ever understand a film like this getting a slipcover, you know. No one but collectors, and nobody else knows how good the feeling is to, you know, receive a film like this, you know. And I kind of thought that was funny. This is the last DVD, and I'll move on to the box sets. Just one of two box sets here. This is Forgotten Jolly Volume 3. I already own the first two, and this has Autopsy, Murder Mansion, Crazy Desires of a Murderer. So I've got that one. And last but not least is the recent Homegrown Horror set. I've mainly picked this up for Fatal Exam because it's a slasher, but I'll probably check out the other two as well. And there is also a couple more box sets that they've just released which I want to pick up. But yeah. Right, so that is everything I own at the moment, and I still have the Halloween Steelbook on the way, and that'll arrive soon, but most of you have probably seen that already anyway. And the collection just keeps growing day by day, and I'm happy with everything I own. You know, nothing I love more than collecting these things, and thank you for watching, and I guess showing support, and I really appreciate it, and see you in the next one. Hopefully it won't be too long. In fact, I might get off and jump and do another video now, but I'll see how I feel. And thanks for watching, see you in the next one. Cheers.